Start with your rides in Hong Kong, Oisin, and Lightning Spear in the mile. I get the impression he's a bit of a favourite of yours.
Yeah, obviously I've ridden him plenty, Stephen, and I know him quite well. He won a Group 2 at Goodwood this year. He ran some good races in defeat. It's a pretty competitive race. The Hong Kong milers tend to be a good bunch, and it's a strong international field as well. Hopefully we'll get a good draw. I think he can run a top 5.
Obviously he's danced pretty much all the big dances, but in some respects is he just a little bit frustrating in that he's not managed to bag that big one just yet?
Yeah, because like he ran to ratings when he was behind Ribchester and Minding, which would be good enough to win most Group 1 miles even in the UK, not to mind internationally. Last season he probably didn't run to career best, but he's been running to 118, 117s. That should be good enough to run very well in Hong Kong.
And the ground always seems to pop up regards him. Do you think he needs it soft, or it'll be fine for him at Sha Tin on Sunday?
Yeah, he's an amazing horse. He ran some disappointing races on soft ground early in his career, and then I suppose his career best was in the QE2 at Ascot in 2016 on soft ground. So for me, ground is often an excuse used for him. I'm not quite sure. I think Sha Tin should be fine. It rides like a carpet around there.
And then onto the Vase, you've got Chemical Charge. Very consistent horse, barring perhaps the odd disappointment in a visor and last time when maybe the track was too sharp, do you think?
Yeah, he is a horse that is ground dependent. If he doesn't have fast ground, he's no good. I won a maiden on him as an apprentice at Salisbury. He's a talented horse, see the stars horse. I think it's a race that's very strong. Highland Rail, the Japanese contenders. If you take out the top 4 in the ratings, he could definitely be in the mix. It's a race that very strong at the top. It lacks depth below. You know.
I was going to say that, and the fact he's won 2 of his last 3. Do you think he's still getting better as he gets older? Obviously, not been that long with Rafe Beckett either.
Yeah, I think he's a proper 114, 115, 116 horse, and if he runs to that sort of rating at Sha Tin, I think he'll be in the mix.
And these are the sort of horses that, as a retained jockey, that you need year on year, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of horse. I know he only won a Group 3. He won the September Stakes. I should have won a group race on him at Newbury when I hit the front and he got pulled up in front, or possibly didn't stay. We always thought he'd stay. Possibly he doesn't. But I'm learning to ride him eventually, and hopefully it'll go well.
And onto the Cup, what will be Blondme's swan song. Be a bit disappointing and sad to see her go, I suppose, won't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe when I fell off her 3 times going to post first time out as a 2-year-old that she'd have, been this good to me. She's been a star this season. I can't thank her owner Barbara Keller enough. Hopefully she'll go out on a high. A little bit tricky in the stalls, and Hong Kong you're not allowed, the jockey isn't allowed to remove the blind himself. So I'll be relying on one of the stalls handlers, and she's a little bit tricky, so hopefully that'll go well.
Did you learn much Cantonese last year to try and communicate with him?
I learned a little bit, but they all speak, and they're ultimate professionals.
And she's been perfectly placed by Andrew Balding throughout, culminating in that Grade 1 win in Canada last time, which is the highlight of her career, I suppose.
Yeah, it was great to get a Grade 1 under her belt, because when she was placed behind Winter in the Nassau Stakes, she ran to proper Group 1 level. So, and actually she ran to a fairly high level when winning at York in the Middleton Stakes as well, Group 2. So it was great to get a Group 1 under her belt.
And you could actually say she's still unexposed over 2,000 metres, 10 furlongs. I think she's only had 3 or 4 starts, hasn't she?
Yeah, I mean she's quite a fast filly, and particularly in her younger days you wouldn't have thought she'd have stayed, but as she got over ground, I think the one day I'll always remember is in France. I thought she'd definitely win that day, and I got mullered on the rail and I had to pull her up, but these things happen. Thankfully she got her revenge in Woodbine.
And when I spoke to you at the start of the year at Maidan, it was all about the Group 1s, the Grade 1s for you. You managed to pick up a couple during the season, but would this be a fitting way to end your year?
Yeah, thankfully, like I've been riding in them for 4 years, since I was an apprentice, for 4 seasons, and it was becoming very frustrating. To win the Prix de la Forêt on Acclaim was a huge relief, and going into Hong Kong, this was like what I've been dreaming about for a few years. I remember watching the Dubai Carnival as a child and watching Sumion on the Tapita was unbelievable for the cock, and watching Sheikh Mohammed have winners, Saeed training loads of winners, now to be part of it is brilliant.